Hey guys, my name is Lee. I'm a non-native TOEFL coach, and I've been teaching TOEFL for about 8 years. Today, we're going to talk about time control in TOEFL writing because this is actually the number one reason many strong students are losing points. They could have been perfect. Okay, let's go section by section. First, build a sentence questions. There are 10 questions, and you must finish them within 5.5 minutes. Each question is worth 1 more point. If you don't answer it or you answer it incorrectly, you lose that point. Now, here's the problem. A lot of students who are actually very strong readers and writers still end up getting 2.5, 3, or 3.5 in writing. Why? Because they simply did not finish this section within that 5.5 minutes. Okay? Many students practice ETS's practice test number 1 and 2. Those are free tests. Okay? Those are great tests, but the build a sentence section in those 2 tests are slightly easier. So if you only tried that, you might think that you can finish it within 5.5 minutes. But if you try other free tests, which I put in the link below, you'll notice that the sentence patterns are more complicated, and it's easier to get stuck while building a sentence. Because on average, again, you only have 33 seconds to write to finish one question. For example, imagine the situation. You see a question prompt that goes like this. I'm going down to Texas tomorrow. And you need to build a response, which is a question like this. Do you know what you're going to do once you get there? But the answer tiles may include many similar words like do you, what, when, once, to do, So if you choose when to start the sentence, you might end up with something like, when do you want to, and then you suddenly find out that you cannot find the right tiles to finish that sentence, okay? And then you suddenly cannot continue. So you might have wasted, say, 20 seconds just because you got too fixated on one possibility. You need to examine all possibilities. You need to examine sentences that starts with do or what. You can't get too fixated on one particular combination. That's why a lot of people spend too much time on this section. So how do you solve this? The solution is quite simple. Just practice with all available free tests, not just the first 2. And when you do them, you start to notice that which patterns confuse you more and which structures slow you down. If you're taking the new TOEFL 2026 and want extra practice, timing, and scoring guides and updates as we collect more real results, there's a link below this video. Fill out the short form and I'll send them to you. So let's talk about the email task and the academic discussion task. These 2 sections have a similar time management problem, so I'll explain them together. Normally, you need time for 3 things. First, you need to read the question and think about ideas. Second, you need to type. Typing speed and sentence formulation speed then matter a lot. Third, you need to check your grammar. Okay. Let's break down the time. In email writing, a simple breakdown might be that you need 1 minute to read and think and 1 minute to check grammar. That leaves you with 5 minutes to actually type. Okay? With academic discussion writing, because academic discussion writing questions nowadays tend to be more complicated than the older academic discussion writing questions, in the old tests. So you need to spend more time reading the question and understanding the question and coming up with a reason. So let's assume you need about 2 minutes to read and think, and you need about 1 minute to check grammar. That leaves you with 7 minutes to write. Again, so what causes people not to finish writing within those 5 or 7 minutes? 2 main reasons. Problem 1, your typing speed. Let's use the email task as an example. The only official ETS email sample is about 120 words long. If you need to write 120 words in 5 minutes, that means you must type about 24 words per minute. If your typing speed is close to that or slower than that, you're already in a very, very risky situation. because if anything happens, a typo, hesitation, or a correction, you may not finish your response. For reference, when I'm writing and thinking at the same time, I type at about 30 to 40 words per minute. But I know many students type much slower, so it is important to check your typing speed. Okay. Problem number 2 is that you write too much. Even if you can type fast, you might still run out of time if you write too much. For example, suppose you type 30 words per minute. If you type continuously for 5 minutes, that's already about 150 words. But if you don't control your structure, you might end up writing 180 or even 200 words. Then you have no time left to check grammar. And that can affect your score as well. So, for example, instead of getting 5, you got 6. And I think a lot of strong writers are able to, get the perfect score if they leave themselves with more time. All right. So let's also do some quick calculation for academic discussion writing. So suppose you write around 130 words and you need to finish within 7 minutes. That means you need about 18 words per minute. Okay, that sounds easier than email writing. But in reality, academic discussion answers usually require more thinking even when you formulate the sentences. So again, if you're typing really, really slow, like around 20 words per minute, I know there are people like that, you need to improve your absolute writing speed. Another very important hidden problem is backtracking. When you type a sentence smoothly the first time, it doesn't take long. But when you constantly stop, move the cursor back, delete words, rewrite sentences, your writing time can easily double. So one trick that helps reduce this problem is quite simple. You quietly say the sentence to yourself while typing. The words come out slightly before you type them, which guides your typing and reduces hesitation. Many people find this surprisingly helpful. So my final advice, if you're struggling with time management and TOEFL writing, here's what I recommend. When you practice, time every stage. Okay? Time yourself and find out how long you spend time reading the question, how long you spend time thinking about what to write, the overall reason and structure, and how long you spend writing each sentence, and how long you spend time checking grammar. If you don't want to spend hours trying to navigate this on your own, trying to find out all your error patterns in different sections of the writing test, you can work with me and I'll help you solve some problems. Sign up for my email list, and the link is in the description below. And in the form, you just mention that you're interested in writing help. So that's it for today. See you tomorrow in the next video.